Hey, Gemini, this one's for you. Welcome, welcome. This is Tarot Lumination with your love and relationship report for November 2017, and that's you, Gemini. You know the drill, you've done this before. They call it cross-watching, apparently. So that's when you do your sun, moon, and rising. You watch all of it, mix it all up, and even watch for your partner, watch for your mate. Cover all the bases, you know. No jumpers, no flyers, no oracles, not even any reversals, nothing. Sorry, it's just stripped down, bare bone, little storytelling here on Tarot Illumination. Cards are already well shuffled in advance, but we're going to the last second so that you're a witness. And we're going to use this crucible spread that I like, and it's on the understanding that there's you, Gemini, a chosen one, significant other, and the relationship itself, which has its own separate identity. And in a good, healthy relationship that is acknowledged, chosen, and built and maintained, everything is conducted through the relationship. So let's have a look. Let's see what's going on for you guys. We're almost there. Okay. Let's see if we can just get straight to the point here. Sorry all this is coming out so late for you guys, but we're just doing what we can here at Tarot Illumination, all right? So this would be your energy, Gemini, your love energy, so to speak, what you radiate from your heart. This would be the same for the significant other. This would be going deep inside of you, okay, Gemini, deep inside of the other, and this is the relationship core itself. It has its own identity, kind of like you, kind of like the other, but if it's either accidental or if it's deliberate and nurtured, that's a big thing. It's a big difference. This would be the momentum here. Now, can you see the kind of bowl shape, the crucible shape here? A crucible is a structure that can withstand intense pressures, kind of like they use in laboratories and, steel refineries and things like that, so that all the ups and downs of relationships can endure in a safe environment, so long as it's well nurtured and well maintained with love. Okay, and then so that's the momentum, and we're going to look at this. This is what I think of as circumstantial energy, like, call it the weather, and you're going to make the most of it. Okay, Gemini, you're not going to let the weather own you. Just make the most of it. So you have Three of Pentacles. Now, as far as I recall, this has been showing up quite a lot in readings, and for me, it's been feeling very much to do with mutual appreciation, mutual understanding in the context of a work in progress, where both parties, yourself and a significant other, understand that in some ways we're always a work in progress. So that, when everybody starts to put relationships on autopilot, that's the beginning of the end, people. That's when you make assumptions about yourself and the others, and you think, okay, well, I know what they're going to do. They know what I'm going to do, so we can just relax and chill. So you can do that, in an organized manner. But if you do that subconsciously on both sides of the relationship, you're building a train wreck. So I don't want to scare you there, but this feels like the weather, the circumstances around you now are ripe for considering how much you value each other, how much how much you invest in yourselves, in each other, in the relationship. Are you both on the right path? Are you both checking in with each other the way people do in healthy relationships? That kind of thing, maintenance, like you checking in with them, saying, hey, are we doing this thing right? Any tips? I need to know. And they're doing the same thing. I was feeling we're a bit off lately. Is there anything I've been you've been wanting to tell me? That kind of energy. So what about you? Okay, look, okay, Gemini. So if in your day-to-day life, let's say not even below the surface, but right in it right now, let's say you might be plagued by anxieties, okay? It could be lots of tiny little things, but they do add up, okay? They do add up to that, that traditional image of the sleepless night. And of course, a lot of it's in the mind. These could be just niggly anxieties that have been building up for a long time, or just a couple of crucial ones that are mixed in with it all. And This is mostly your, I mean, this is your energy, Gemini, but it could all indicate that this is you feel like this might be coming at you, or it could be out there, like fate's got it in for you, or like, what am I doing wrong in my love life? What am I doing wrong in my relationships? I don't get it. Okay, well, I haven't done this. I'm just going to do something. Stay there a second, Gemini. Give me a moment. This is a quick, spontaneous doodle. I'm really not trying to trying not to do the astrology, but just recently, well, not recently, but for quite a long time, there's been this really significant pattern of Pisces over here, Virgo energy over here, and Sagittarius energy over here. And it was leading up to this big fat T-square, okay, over here. And so there's a lot of tension. It's like a tremendous amount of tension outside of you in the context of significant relationship dynamics and the feeling of opposition, because guess what? Gemini energy is over here. So it's almost like you, Gemini, are being impacted by this and this and this simultaneously. So it's like accidentally being part of a grand square. That's a lot of pressure for anybody. Okay, I just wanted to throw that in there, you know. So anyway, it's almost like you have an excuse if you're stressed out. So don't worry too much, okay? Let's have a look at the other here. What's going on? Well, they're holding on. It's like they're maintaining the status quo. They're helping things to be stabilized. I see this card as power and structure and taking care of business, doing what has to be done to lock down the foundations in times of trouble and strife and stress. It's also an indication that there is an understanding of the value of having good foundations in relationships and good foundations in life, you know, tangible things like, you know, somebody has to bring in the money, you know, someone has a job, someone has to take care of the bills, someone has to you know, take care of the chores and manage the monthly finances or whatever, all those day-to-day kind of niggly annoying things that everyone has to do in life just to keep going. And it doesn't matter whether you're a young couple or you've been married for 30 years. Relationships need maintenance, and you just might be going through one of those phases where you know, it's a work in progress. And like, you know, couples get that way. They get to these points like, well, you know, instead of cuddling up on the sofa that night and watching your favorite show, you might be, you know, fussing around in the garage or the basement or off somewhere stressing out, and they're taking care of business, but there's not a lot of like, you know, lovey-dovey stuff because, you know, there are stressful elements going on inside of you, Gemini, which are affecting the relationship as a whole, but it's not at, you know, kind of a crisis level or anything like that, but it does create that sense of like, something's going on. And I have a feeling your significant other is aware of that, and they're just letting you be you while you know, try to sort out your business, and they're going to sort out their business over here to make sure that things are, you know, at least try to stabilize things, hold things down, hold on to things, to hold on to what already works. So at least you've got kind of some ballast and stability going on in the context of your relationship here, even though there might be a lot of stress inside of you, Gemini. Okay, I'm kind of taking a lot of liberties with the reading here because I'm feeling it because of that little, you know, big, well, not a little, but a big fat T-square we've had for quite a while for you. It could have been accumulating, you know, piling up all these little stressors, whatever it might be. You know, something wrong with your love life, something wrong with jobs, money, something wrong with, you know, friends, family, relatives, health, whatever it is, it kind of doesn't matter. It's just a whole pile of little things that all add up to stress. So let's have a look deeper down at this work in progress, okay? Okay, well, my feeling here for you, Gemini, is like, well, what do you expect? Justice is here. It's like justice served, justice is done. In other words, if it's kind of like a rude awakening for you, Gemini, that all these issues are coming to the surface, well, please, you know how we do this on Tarot Illumination, we think of this concept of reveal it to heal it. If you can take a perspective on your relationship dynamics right now, where this is good news, in other words, if all these issues are coming and bubbling up to the surface right now and it's happening, please take that as a gift. Please see it as a sign of stuff that needs attention, just like a car. I mean, I don't want to demean you or the relationship or anything, but if your car is, let's say you're lucky enough to have a car, and it works pretty well most of the time, but it's starting to make rumbling noises, and it's hissing there, and there's a rattle there, and there's a squeak there, and there's a red light there, and there's a crunch there, and a grind there, and there's a bunch of dirt and rust over there, and those are all the same kind of things over here in your brain. Then it's a sign that stuff that needs to be done. It's like justice is done. In other words, what do you expect if you have neglected the long-term maintenance in the favor of rushing forward with all the fun things of life, but letting other things fall apart? So in other words, it's all catching up with you. This is kind of like a karmic card where there's nothing good or bad about the justice card. It's just an indication that everything is exactly just so, and you're getting your karmic desserts, so to speak. So in other words, if you've been living a life in a relationship, Gemini, where there's been a kind of like taking things for granted, living on autopilot, just sort of assuming that they're going to do what they're going to do, and they're assuming that you're going to do what you're going to do, and then everything has been sort of like, like somebody forgot to rake the leaves, or somebody forgot to call the plumber, somebody forgot to get the groceries sorted out for the weekend or the kids, whatever it is. It's no wonder things are feeling like this for you, and the other party might be just barely holding on, But it's okay. It's not the end of the world here. This is a very classic scenario in just about any and every relationship. It's just that sometimes it takes a big wake-up call for us to realize it. But these are all issues that are screaming out for attention, okay? That need healing, that need to be put into like the shopping list of what needs to be done, honey. What are we going to do, honey? Let's figure it out. Let's figure it out. Let's apply our best skills and talents for the good of ourselves, the good of each other, the good of the relationship. We need to keep investing in the relationship. So let's have a look at the other deeper down. Okay, well, there might be some trouble and strife inside of them that you might not even be aware of, Gemini. For all you know, they might be in a very conflicted state inside of you, because it just might be accidental or circumstantial. In other words, over here, if they're feeling like, God, I'm barely holding on. Deep inside, I feel kind of crushed. There's some kind of splintering going on in the relationship where it's falling apart. Well, this card wouldn't be surprising at all, Gemini. So don't have to freak out with this. It just might be like accidental, circumstantial, where both of you are just doing the best you can, but you're realizing that there's a lot of stuff that really needs attention. They are definitely realizing it over here, and you're realizing it over here, but no one's actually kind of doing much about it. That's the problem, okay? In other words, everything is exactly as it should be. Justice is being served exactly according to the laws of nature, laws of karma, laws of attraction. Everything is exactly as it should be. So there shouldn't be any surprise here for you in any way, Gemini. I mean, I'm not saying this applies to every Gemini, because there's, thousands of people out there who can watch these things. But if there's something in this reading that resonates with you, Gemini, then it's a very, very strong signal that both sides really need to come together in the middle and start taking care of business, focusing on what needs to be done without any judgment from your side to them or from them to you. It's just like, if we're in this, my dear, my darling, then we've got some work to do, and it's a work in progress, and it's a team effort. So what are we going to do? How are we going to do this? I know you love me, you know I love you, but it's seriously in jeopardy right now. In other words, they might not be expressing this, but they might be feeling this. They might feel that the relationship is at a breaking point, and maybe there's an external influence. Maybe there's a third party that's influencing the relationship and taking it to a crisis breaking point, but it's not there yet. It's just, things are rattling. It's like the car that is not being maintained. Everything's starting to shake and rattle and smoke and clunk around. Okay, let's have a look. Let's keep going. Aha! All right, Gemini. So it's an indication that all is not lost here, okay? I'm not trying to turn this into a soap opera or anything, but it makes me feel here with the little two of cups that there is, so long as you pay attention and listen to the signs, pay very close attention to any anxieties and stresses, and be willing to vocalize them and bring them out there on the table and encourage them to bring up their stresses and issues and anxieties of any kind of sense of fracturing or breaking up or splintering in the relationship. Please bring that to the table. Please seize this time, this opportunity, even if it's not right now here in November. Please see this as the big wake-up call. This is like the big red alarm bell going off on the front of your dashboard in your car. It's going beep, 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 beep. Do something now, Gemini. Do something now, Gemini. Do something now or else. Okay? Because there's a lot at stake here. It looks like at the very core, you've got something very simple and pure and innocent and almost divinely blessed in that degree of love that can exist between two parties. This is almost like the dream card that everyone would ultimately wish to have for in their relationship, especially in this position, in this particular spread, the way we do things here at Tarot Lumination. So all is not lost. This could be an actual golden opportunity moment by acknowledging the stresses and the factors and the things that are not working, getting to the table. It's almost like having a kitchen table meeting or saying, honey, it's getting to the point where it's so obvious that there's something really out of whack with our relationship. I think we need to talk. And so just by doing something like that can really, really break the ice and say, okay, so you can say to them, what's going on? You know I love you. I know you love me. What the heck is going on with you for this to show up? And then they can have the chance to express all the stresses that they might have. And then you have made the loving gesture, the very, very bold, courageous, loving gesture of bringing all these issues to the surface that need attention, because that's the most loving thing you can do. That is, love is as love does. That's love in action. In other words, not running away from this, not running away from this, seeing these as very, very bright, bold signals that the love in your relationship needs attention. Okay? So please see it as a blessing. Let's have a look at the momentum here. Okay? So with the World card, it's a sense of completion. It's a sense of wrapping things up and everything has come to its ultimate conclusion, just like a movie, okay? Just like a really good movie, a bad movie, a weird movie, it doesn't matter. It's very much like a movie where it had its beginning. Let's say this is the relationship. Let's say it had its beginning and it had its peak moments and it had its periods of drought and flourishment and abundance and love and delight. And it was all originally and purely based on love in the most pure sense possible that anyone could wish for. In other words, the perfect mate for each other, literally for each other. In other words, being extremely lucky to have met each other and found each other, to be this way with each other. It's really a loving relationship, that kind of thing. And so that is still here very much at the core. However, it looks like a certain era or a certain chapter in this relationship is completed. In other words, maybe it looks like there's a complete total bust up here and everything is like, well, what do you expect? And they're just trying to hold on and you're just still struggling dealing with it. However, it might just be one of those, in a relationship, here's the crucible, okay? There's the crucible like so. And inside the crucible, the whole idea of the crucible is that's an investment. It's something that you nurture and take care of, as a team effort. And we just might be living through a chapter here where both of you might be realizing that, oh my gosh, we've really neglected our relationship. We've been focusing on ourselves and each other like this, and it's all come into this, and it's what do you expect? In other words, it's like a stark realization and a stark admission in court of justice. Let's say that's you guys together at the kitchen table having a real life truth and honesty conversation. And it's like, well, you look at each other and gosh, and you kind of go, Oh gosh, it's no wonder things are the way they are, like this. It's what do we expect? So what are we going to do about it? We're going to have to start all over again. Now, some people in a really strong, loving relationship, they have the courage to do that. They can come together, they can acknowledge the mistakes and everything that's going wrong, and together as a team they lift up the hood of the car. Let's, I'm talking about the analogy of the relationship, and they start going through everything that needs work and maintenance and attention, just like you would maintain your house, your home, your apartment, your family, your job, whatever it is, your wardrobe, your kitchen, whatever it is, instead of letting everything just fall apart until the wheels fall off, because that's kind of where things are a little bit here. And if you want to keep this and own this and maintain this for the long term, then it might be an idea to have one of those get-togethers. I'm not a relationship counselor, okay? I'm not telling you how to live your life. I'm just giving you a little story the way I see it, because it looks like over here uh, it's the end of the end as certain ways of being are concerned, and it's time for things to change. And it's an irrevocable change, because a certain way of, in other words, gosh, I keep doing this with the car analogy, but if the car is completely bust up and broken down, maybe it's time to have a complete revamp, reboot, and start from scratch again. And both of you come together and figure out, well, what are we going to do? We might have to start our whole love life, our relationship, our engagement, our marriage, our living together thing from scratch, but we can't afford to keep on living and putting everything onto autopilot or cruise control. It's not going to work. We're going to have a brand new plan on the new movie for Gemini, where we do regular daily maintenance, weekly maintenance, monthly maintenance, and we build it in as part of our operating system, our business plan for life, our business plan for relationships, so that you can maintain and build and nurture a healthy, loving relationship for the longer term. Otherwise, it's like you know, so I hope this makes sense to you and you get something out of this, Gemini. I'm not going to talk about it much longer because I'll probably spoil it and say something that might offend somebody, and I don't want to do that, because it seems that Terra Illumination is always on the tippy edge of just causing some kind of like oops moment in the viewer. So let's just keep it simple. Please reinterpret uh, to suit yourself, okay? Remember, please don't forget this. You're extremely lucky, Gemini, if this is really what's going on at the core of your relationship. You're very, very blessed. You're very, very fortunate. And this is not something that anyone would want to throw away. I certainly wouldn't want to do it. I would treasure this with all my heart. But if it's beyond repair, FUBAR, then so be it, because you can wrap things up and you can start all over again, even if it's renewing your vows, something like that. Because at the very core here, you do have this very beautiful, loving thing going on, okay? It's just that it's like, it's in the roadside ditch at the moment. Okay, sorry I said that. Oops. Okay, Gemini, all the best. Okay, bye. Thanks for choosing Terra Illumination. Bye.